Hey guys, here's a quick overview of the Euro-Swiss big candle trading robot. I'll go through the settings with you real quick. Uses 4 different moving averages, but the primary moving average is MA3, set to 50 exponential right now in this preset file here. This is the pivot point from which it will measure the entries, and for trades in the direction of the candle, you can have your separate settings here, 12 to 75 for buys and 3 to 30 pips for sells. For trades in the candle direction, you can have your settings again for moving average 3. The signal has to be somewhere in this range. On buys, 12 to 75 pips. For sells, it has to be 3 to 30 pips distance from moving average 3. So what is moving average 3? It's exponential MA50. And the candle body size for these trades is 15 to 75 pips for buys, 16 to 75 for sells. And here's the wicks and tails settings for those signals. So you have 2 different types of signals. You have signals that will trade against the candle direction. So if you have a big green bullish candle, it'll trade against that here in these settings here and the wicks and tails. And the second set of signals will be in the direction of the candle. So if you have a big bullish candle, it'll take a buy instead of a sell. And this will be below the moving average instead of above it. So in both cases, it's price making a correction from a previous large move. And here's the candle body size for that, wicks and tails. For a second entry, you can set the minimum spacing. I leave it just at 3 pips to 200 pips, so it's very loose. The MA4 exits. This will measure the distance between price and moving average number 4, which is also at 50. I like to keep them the same, but sometimes I'll make them different depending on the strategy. So 400 is actually 40 pips. See, it says 10 equals 1 pip. So these are pipettes. And you got lots of little other additional settings here. Close opposite order. If you're at a US broker, you want to set this to true so that it will not take a hedge position. It will close the opposite order. And I have preset files for US brokers already set up for you. Enable buys, enable sells. You can set pop-up alerts, journal logs. I usually keep these off unless I'm testing something. Otherwise, it will create very large log files because it records all the historical trades every time you get a signal. So it can reference it for the money management. Stops and targets, trailing stops I don't use typically. Okay, floating PL exits. This is floating profit and loss. You can disable this if you want. Right now it's being used. Okay, there's 2 ways to use this. You can combine all your buys and sells together, or you can separate them with this setting here. So if it's true, it's going to add up all the buys together, and if it reaches the total net profit in pips, it will close all the buys. And if it's separate, it's true, it will do the same for the sells independently. If this is false, it's going to add up all the buys and sells together to see if either one of those reaches the profit target or the stop loss. It's a pretty handy little feature here. This is another exit strategy that I had added recently to the V7 EAs. Let's see here. Consecutive bars, PL exits. In this setting, we're using it. So what this will do is it will count the number of bars, consecutive bars, either in profit or in loss, and it will close the trade. So with this setting, it's looking for 5 consecutive bars to close in profit. But not just that, it has to reach the minimum pips profit or loss. So yes, I want 5 consecutive bars in profit, but that 5th bar has to be at least 16 pips in profit. Otherwise, it'll ignore it and wait for the next bar. Likewise, with the cells, they work independently, and you can set them independently. For the losses, I'm saying I want 11 bars consecutive closing in loss, and that 11th bar has to be at least 9 pips in loss, or it'll ignore it and wait for the next bar. So it gives you a lot of control over your exits. This will close your trades after so many bars, so you can use this EA for binary options. I do not trade binary options, so I have not played with this, but you can. You're welcome to. You can just set it, if you set it to true and say input 10, you can do longs and shorts separately. This will close the trade after 10 bars, win or lose, no matter what. Okay, so you can develop a strategy just using this for binary options. Money management, set it to true if you want to use the roulette trader money management. Manage buys and sells separately. Okay. This will manage your money management cycles, exactly what it says, with your buys and sells separately. It'll separate your buys. If it's true, it'll say, okay, I'm only going to reference buys. Look at all the historical buy signals and base the money management on that. If it's false, then it'll look at buys and sells. Reference last floating trade. If this is true, then if there is an open trade, it will say, okay, is the current open trade in profit and loss? How much is it in profit? How much is it in loss? And those amounts are determined right here. Minimum pipettes for a win. 180 is actually 18 pips because these are pipettes. And 2,000 is 200 pips. Likewise with the losses, a loss has to be 16 to 200 pips, and a win has to be 18 to 200 pips in order for the money management to change the next lot size. If this is set to false, then it will only look at the last closed trade, and it'll ignore any open trades. Negative progression. If this is true, it will increase the lot sizes after losses instead of after wins. So it's very different money management. Use consecutive method. If it's true, it'll use consecutive wins. If it's false, it'll use cumulative wins. And I already covered the minimum and maximum pipettes. Text display. If this is true, you'll get a text display on the chart, just like this here. Okay, so I'm going to run a quick back test so we can see how this looks. You can load a preset file. I'm going to choose preset 20A. I really like this one. It goes for a 20 unit cycle target. As you can see right here, 20 units of 0.01. Okay, click start. Let's see how this goes here. Here a 20 unit cycle has been reached. Here's another 20 unit cycle target where you see this big drop in lot sizes back down to 1 unit. That means a cycle target has been hit, and it's resetting the cycle at 1 unit. So a lot of profit is made during these 20 unit cycles. Here's the third cycle target. We are now at about $2,300 profit on the third cycle. And this is without compounding between cycles. If you want to compound your profit between cycles, then each time you get a win at 20 units, readjust your lot sizes based on your new balance. and it will really, really snowball. Okay, fourth cycle. That was a good run there. So we started with $1,000, and it's at $4,300 here. So $3,300 between 4 cycles. And you could start this with about $250 at foreign brokers, non-US brokers. Okay, I'm going to pause the video while I let this run, and we'll check back in a few minutes. Okay, it's just hit its 6th cycle target of 20 units. And at that point, it has made, trying to get it print out here, $4,400 profit. Again, this is without compounding. Okay, we're coming up on another cycle target here. There's another cycle target here. 6,000 profit. Okay, we just hit the 9th cycle target of 20 units, and it is averaging about $755 a target. So you're basically averaging 4 times your money on every cycle target. So you start your first cycle with $250, you make $750, you're ending with $1,000. So that's 4 times your money. And after each cycle, you can compound your profits by increasing your lot sizes based on your new balance, and quadruple your money again at each cycle. So you would go $250 at the very beginning, you hit 1,000, that's times 4. 1,000 times 4 again is 4,000 on your second cycle, times 4 again is 16,000 on your third cycle. I'm going to get my calculator out for this. On your fourth cycle, you could take that to about 64,000. Times 4 again takes you 256,000 on your fifth cycle. And you times 4 again. By your seventh cycle, you're at 1,024,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, on your sixth cycle, you're at $1 million. So your seventh, you could be at 4 million. On your eighth, 16 million. On your ninth, 64 million, etc. So this is, of course, that's hypothetical. I'm not saying you're going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. The brokers might do something to slow you down, but you can always spread your money between multiple brokers. And once you make your first million, you're not going to care much anyway. So this is March of 2020, during the whole coronavirus pandemic. Seemed to do pretty well through here. No problems. It is still going. Let's see if we're going to get one more cycle out of here. It looks like we might. That's March 31st. It's got a few months to go still. It looks like it's going to hit. It's at 18 units. Coming down from some losses. This is the cumulative wins money management strategy, by the way. It increases lots after wins and decreases after losses. So on a losing streak, the lot sizes come down. On a winning streak, they build up pretty quickly. So you can see where this the equity curve went sideways for a while. We just weren't getting very many winning streaks there. And so the lot sizes just kind of went sideways too, went up and down with the balance. And then when we got a good winning streak, bam, it just really capitalized on that and racked up a lot of profit quick. Okay, the backtest report has finished. We almost got another cycle out of that completed cycle target. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nearly 10 cycle targets. The net profit was 7,689. I see we only started this with 900. We could have started with 250 easily. So 7,689 divided by 10 cycles. Yeah, we averaged $768 a cycle. So you could literally quadruple your money at each cycle target. Okay. There's also a 4-hour version of this robot. Works pretty much the same way. There's lots of preset files for these. I'll show you again here. Here it is. Here's the 4-hour presets. Lots of them. And the 1 hour, it's right here. So I have different presets for US brokers. I just created some Awanda presets because Awanda has more trading rules than other brokers. So it requires a little bit different settings here. So I created some presets just for Awanda USA. Awanda in foreign countries, probably just use the normal presets here. It's for different unit sizes, different money management strategies, negative progression. It's a smoother equity curve, but more risky, so you have to trade more conservatively. It's less profit, but more steady. 5-unit stay at max is a good one. That's using positive progression, so quite safe. And this is the one we just tested. And I have presets for different unit sizes here. Okay, and that's it. Go grab your copy. It is one of the best EAs for 2020 so far. All right, take care.